Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Gemini Hills. It's been a long time since I've made a video like this, one of these Monday vlogs, but something important happened and I thought I'd go ahead and document it for time. What happened is that I've always been a big book collector. I've always enjoyed reading. I've always been a very avid reader, and I pretty much pick up books wherever I go. And recently, all of my books from Korea made it back to the States, and I was able to build some new shelves and combine all of my books that were already here in the States with all the books that I had in Korea, and now everything is in one place, and it's beautiful. So anyway, one of my friends, shout out to Gaela, asked me to do a shelf tour. And that's really kind of difficult to do because I've got so many books. I've got anthologies. I've got, authors from A to Z. If you look at my nonfiction shelves, I've got everything. I've got the American Revolution. I've got books about art. I've got essay collections and history books and books about capitalism and books about communism and books about language and literature and Nazi Germany and just about everything. I've got a psychology and philosophy section. I've got a large religion section. I'm interested in all sorts of things. I'm a wide reader, and there's just a lot of ground to cover. So here's what I've decided to do. I've picked up 5 books, or 5 book collections, I should say, that I'm going to go ahead and share with you today. And if enough people enjoy this, then I'll show you more. I'll even take requests. Be like, Jay, can we see your history books? Jay, what do you have about Nazi Germany? Jay, what books do you have in your communism section? Whatever you want to see, let me know. And if enough people are interested, then I'll go ahead and do more of this. But for now, here are 5 books that I've picked out just at random. The first one is The Complete Works of Lewis Carroll. Look how beautiful this book is. This was actually on sale when I worked at Barnes & Noble. I want to say it was like 1995. It wasn't like crazy expensive like you would expect something like this to be. But it's got everything. It's got the Alice books. It's got a lot of his shorter works. And it also has Phantasmagoria. I don't know if you knew this, but Marilyn Manson at one point was making a film version of Phantasmagoria, and he had all these like interesting new like camera things he was supposed to do, and they were supposed to be really cutting edge and all this kind of thing, but somehow that got shelved and he never went back to it. I lost interest in Marilyn Manson's music over the years. Probably after Mechanical Animals I stopped listening, but I always wanted to see that. I always wanted him to do that film project, and he never did, so what can you say? Damn you, Marilyn. Just do something I'm interested in. The next thing I've got here, you may not be able to see it with this stripe on it, but this is a short story collection called Stained Glass Elegies. It's written by a guy named Shusaku Endo. Endo wrote Silence, which was made into a movie by Martin Scorsese a few years ago. A classic of Catholic/Christian literature. It's all about the Christian faith in Japan. It's as one of my friends described it. He says it's imagine Christianity out of context. It's very interesting. Endo was an interesting guy writing about stuff that's not familiar to his homeland. So what makes this interesting, on top of the fact that Endo wrote it, is that I picked this up in Tokyo. Same friend and I were actually walking the streets of Tokyo, and of all things to find, there's a Christian bookstore. And you just don't expect to see this in Tokyo. So we went in, most of the books are in Japanese, but we went upstairs, there was a small English section, and I picked this up. So, Stained Glass Elegies. Interesting, good stuff. The next books on the pile, my Faulkner books. These, as you can see, these are the classic black covers. These are the Library of America editions of Faulkner. This is the early, actually it's not the early stuff. The early Faulkner stuff was books no one's ever probably even heard of. You ever heard of a Faulkner book called Soldier's Pay? You ever heard of a book called Mosquitoes? I read both of those books because I'm very much a completist. If I'm interested in an author, what I do, I like to read everything chronologically. I want to read the first book and then go through and see where they came to at the end of their career. Some authors get better as they go along. Some of them peak early and write the good stuff first. But anyway, Faulkner, boy, those first 2 books are a slog, especially Soldier's Pay. Mosquitoes was a little better. It was kind of comedic. It was a little more fun to read. But even my Faulkner professor at Ole Miss admitted, he's like, boy, that's a labor of love to get through that early stuff of Faulkner's. These 2 books are not like that. These are the books everyone knows. As I Lay Dying, Light in August, Pylon, If I Forget Thee, Jerusalem is in this one. So if I had enough shelf space, and if I had, had we but whirled enough in time, I would get, oh, you son of a bitch. Sorry, my computer tried to crap out on me. But I would get all of these. I'd have an entire shelf just for the Library of America, the Library of America black cover editions. I just think they're great. They feel like real books. When you read this, you really feel like a scholar. The next book that I have for you is, what's this called actually? Russian Legends and Fairy Tales. Now, I'm always talking about my trip to Russia, but this did not come from there. This I've actually had probably since I was in middle school. In Jackson, which is the Mississippi state capital, I think it was in Jackson, they had a big exhibit once about no, wait, I'm wrong about this. This I picked up probably when I was in college at Ole Miss. In Memphis, there was a whole big exhibit in Memphis about the palaces of St. Petersburg. And when I went through the gift shop at the end, I was powerless against this book. The illustrations are beautiful. The cover is beautiful. And I've always, this is the God's honest truth, I've always just been a sucker for folk tales and fairy tales from different countries. I know a lot of people think that that's like reading for kids and everything, but you really learn a lot about a culture and a people from these stories. Read anything from anywhere and you'll learn something about the people. But the fairy tales, that's where you really find some interesting stuff. You see the symbols that are important to people, and the Russians, they're the best at this stuff. And they really, really are. I mean, it's just, they make such good use of color and language. Say what you will about the Russians, but they know how to put a book together. Speaking of, I've got one more to show you. "14 Great Short Stories by Soviet Authors." So this little curio is obviously from the Cold War era. It was published in 1959, and I can't say no to this kind of stuff. You can probably tell I'm just a sucker for a lot of stuff. If it's like a little curio or something, I've got to have it. I actually have 2 secret shelves here at Gemini Hills filled with weird little curio books like this. I'll never show you those shelves. If you want to see them, you'll have to come and visit me here. But anyway, this is just what it says it is. It's stories from behind the Iron Curtain. But there's actually some authors in here that you may have heard of. Boris Pasternak, I'm probably saying his name wrong, but he wrote Dr. Zhivago. One of his stories is in here. Isaac Babel has a story in here. And what's interesting is, you assume that, 14 great stories, they probably passed some censor and, you had to say that about the stories. But like I said, the Russians are really good at writing, and most of these stories in here, they're not like really trying to push any Soviet ideas on you. In fact, a lot of them are just about people drinking and having like weird little, incidents where, oh my God, he got there and he was drunk and he forgot to bring his passport. And it's just that kind of stuff. But let's see, what's the back of the book says? The back of the book says, "From behind the Iron Curtain comes this collection of modern stories that show the vitality of Russian writing today. Here are stories of lofty morality and deep degradation, of infinite pathos and unbridled comedy, of implicit violence and explicit passion, stories by worthy heirs to Russia's great literary tradition." 14 great short stories by Soviet authors. It's good stuff. Now, if you've stuck with me this long, I'm going to reward you. I want to thank you for coming by Gemini Hills today, for watching the video this far, and because you've been such a trooper and stuck with me, I'm going to read you a little story here at the end. Let me know if you like this video, if you want me to make more videos about stuff on my bookshelves. I'm going to list every category of book that I have down in the description of this video, so if you see something you want to know more about, just let me know, and we will take it from there. I hope everybody has a great week, and I will see you again soon. Take care.
Yes, gather round, I tell you a story of Vasilia the Beautiful. Long, long ago in the faraway Tsardom, there lived an old man and an old woman and their lovely daughter Vasilia. Although their hut was small and they were not rich, they lived a happy and peaceful life. But even the brightest of skies may become overcast, and misfortune struck this happy household when the old woman fell gravely ill. Feeling that her end was near, she called Vasilia to her bedside, embraced her, and gave her a little doll, saying, "My dear child, do as I tell you. Take good care of this little doll, and never show it to anyone. If ever anything bad happens to you, give the doll to someone to eat and ask its advice. She will help you out of all your troubles." She gave Vasilia a last kiss and embrace and died.